You Are What You Eat, Part 3, Longevity Rocks. Hi, welcome everybody. It's Jason Barlow, RMT, and I'm here today as your therapist and as your coach to help you transform any stress, tension, and pain into health, happiness, and vitality instead. Longevity. This is a word that I didn't even know existed until maybe 15 years ago in my career, my industry. It's taught me and educated me on so many levels, and I'm sure there's so much more I don't even know yet that I look forward to continuing to learn, evolve, and expand and grow. And really, that's the very purpose, I believe, in our human life, is growing and evolving and expanding our capacities, especially on a spiritual level. You know, I'm a firm believer that this life isn't the one and only. It's a one and done deal. Certainly not. I believe, certainly revolving around a Buddhist thread, which is perhaps why I pursue Buddhism, because it just seems to make logical sense to me, and it lines up with everything I've always firmly believed in, but never had anything solid or scientific to kind of support it, which is that we have many past lives and we have many future lives yet to come. How we choose to lead this life is giving rise to the experiences we have, not only in this very life, but also our future lives. Now, keeping it to this life, because that's just a little bit easier for people to take on board, that, you know, we are experiencing a body that is a continuum. It started as a union of our father's sperm and our mother's ovum, which developed into what we now experience as a human body. And isn't it remarkable that, yes, we are, in essence, the same person that we were on some levels. We're the same continuum of that person from when we were a baby to, hopefully we all go to ripe, great age and we have longevity and we have great health with that in mind. But we are essentially the same person during that entire process. And, learning about this word and learning about this whole science of longevity in the last 15 years, to me, that's become my driving force for what I do and pursue in terms of, okay, is this going to, create a lasting positive effect, or could this give me something negative effect that's going to be more enduring than I'd like it to be? And if so, and then that really starts to make me think, okay, is this something I really want to invest my time in? Exercise is very therapeutic, very beneficial on so many levels within the scope of healthy practices. And I teach this to my boys all the time, that it is the dose that makes the poison. Hey, have you heard that before? That's right. If you've been reading my book, the 15-Step Playbook for Pain Relief book, which is what we're diving into, by the way, on these Thursdays. And this one is getting into the latter steps of the 15 steps, revolving around foods. So I've not dived into yet the 3 goals that I give you in my book revolving around food. I'm just whetting your appetite, quite literally, to get you prepared, because so very often people can say that they want to make changes, and maybe they even act out some of those changes. But why, if you found and had this frustration experience, why do those changes never last? It's because you've not yet developed a compelling reason why it is that you should pursue this change of direction with your foods. So I'm here to educate you on all the whys, and I'm going to try and line those up as many as possible, because this is a huge one. And it's a huge one that people very often pursue. There's billion dollar industries that revolve around you not achieving what you want in foods, by the way. That's a whole different, maybe we'll go on to that topic next week. And then there's a whole industry revolving around supplementation, dietary books, diet support aids, Weight Watcher group. There's countless things, right? Ultimately, it boils down to, if you have a strong enough reason why, you will figure out the how. That as much as you may have in the past, have read multiple books and studied multiple courses and tried different endeavors, and even hired people to professionally support you in achieving your nutrition goals, but you've still failed to achieve them, it's because you have not been self-driven, self-motivated, and self-disciplined to achieve those goals. Now, as hard as that might be to hear, that's my job as your coach, is to give you something that you might not want to hear, but you need to hear, so that you can overcome what it is, the real obstacle to the problem of you not achieving what you want with respect of your foods and your diet changes, boils down to you. It boils down to your decision making and your discipline. And I love this quote: the discipline is the bridge between your goals and your accomplishments. And you might have some discipline, which is what set you on that initial bridge building of going toward the goals and the achievements that you wish to achieve. But because they didn't come quick enough, or it wasn't as easy as you thought it was going to be, maybe you quit. Hey, I've done it. Might not necessarily be on the nutritional front, but I've done it on many other fronts. So what do? We have to go back to finding the compelling reasons that are going to be your driving force, your motivating reasons, your inspiring reasons, so that when those days come or those people enter your life that you think, yeah, I don't know if I want to do this anymore, you can push through to achieve more lasting results. Because I don't know if there's anything more important than achieving greater levels of health, happiness, and vitality. And I remember this from a patient of mine whose best friends had won the lottery years ago. Enough money, they never had to work again. Mid-40s, no children, they paid off the debts, they traveled the world, they bought the cars, they bought another house, and they did some beautiful things for 5 years. And after 5 years, they were kind of twiddling their thumbs going, what's next? And the things that they boiled it down to, there were two things that they were now lacking, which money could not fulfill for them. And it was purpose and fulfillment. Purpose and fulfillment. So now, completely different mindset and a completely different level of income, but they voluntarily now chose to go pursue something that was going to give them that purpose and give them that fulfillment, because they found that pursuing all these worldly pleasures was only so satisfying, and we could only do so many, and we could only spend so much money, and it wasn't giving them the lasting, enduring happiness and fulfillment that they were actually seeking. And again, this is a beautiful thread of teaching from Buddhism, is that those things that we're usually seeking to find fulfillment within never quite bring us the lasting, enduring results that we're wishing for. So what I'm saying with that is, ultimately, until you have real peace of mind, you'll never be truly happy. So discover how. How can I achieve more happiness from inside rather than just outside? I'm not saying stop doing everything. Continue to do the things that you find purposeful and fulfilling and bring you sources of happiness, but just understand that they're not going to bring you the lasting happiness that you truly desire. To get to that, that's getting to more the mindset, which we talked a bit about before. So I'm not going to spend too much time there, but it's peace of mind, bottom line. Now, coming back to longevity. The longevity for me is having more expression of health, happiness, vitality, or peace of mind for a longer period of time. I'd love to stick around and meet my great-grandchildren. Heck, if I could, I'd stick around and meet as many great-great-grandchildren as I could too. For me, it's leading a life filled with health, happiness, vitality for as long as possible, with as little to no degeneration as possible. My decision-making now is very much based upon that goal. You know, if what I do now, today, is that going to help serve me to achieve more years in my body, and my mind, and my whole experience of this very life? Or is it potentially going to shorten that window of time? That becomes a driving force for me, and that's what I'm sharing with you now. When it comes to foods, this is going to be a big decision maker for us, right? So ask yourself this: what is it that you really want out of life? This needs to be your driving force to whatever you eat. Now we could throw in whatever you think, whatever you decide to do for movement, whatever you decide to do for sleep and rest and recovery. It needs to be your driving force behind those reasons to whatever you're eating, thinking, and so forth. Recall that what you eat from this point forward is creating your future body. So nobody's making that for you. You are making your future body based upon the decisions of this moment moving forward. Nobody's going to come in and start to force feed, and if they are, do something. But nobody's going to come in and force feed you the right foods or the wrong foods. That's your decision. It's your decision to purchase that food. It's your decision to consume that food, So change your decisions. How are you going to change your decisions? Hey, it comes back to that reverse engineering we've talked about before. If you want to have different results, you've got to take different actions. If you want different actions, you've got to have different feelings. And the very birthplace of all your feelings is your mind, your thoughts. So learn to take on your mind. Learn to control your mind. Now you start to create different feelings. From those feelings, birth different actions, which create different results. Now, this is a game of patience, ultimately. It's a game of chess. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint. Every 7 years, we have a completely refreshed body, brand new on all levels. Not so much my example, but hair on your head, skin cells, red blood cells, white blood cells, the organs themselves, everything is recycling, regenerating, renewing consistently. But it's every 7 years, the science shows us that a complete new body has been formed. Now, it happens so surreptitiously in the background that we get lost in our thought processes and think that this body is the same as that body from a year ago. And that body is the same as it was from 2 years before that. And that's completely wrong. And it's where a lot of our birthplaces of problems and suffering can come from, because we get so used to believing that things are permanent when they're actually not. And there are many accounts of indigenous people from all over the world living comfortably into their hundreds. And on that note, which is what I left off from last week's podcast on this very topic, You Are What You Eat Part 2, is an article that was written in 2005 of 3 regions in the world that had the highest population of centenarians. So that's people that live comfortably into their hundreds. Because look at the common killers in our Western world these days. And I haven't looked recently, but the general vibe revolves around these 3: heart disease, stroke, and diabetes. And now cancer's definitely in the mix too. So between these 3 or 4, those are the top. They may shift around, some years it's more than others, but essentially those are the 4 top killers of people in the world these days from a health perspective. So we've got to look at, well, what are the triggers? What are the causes? Where are the origins of these diseases coming from? And I firmly believe, from my experience reading and practicality, is our mindset number 1, our food choices number 2, and I would very closely say 3, relationships, and thereafter, how we choose to lead our life, the outdoors to the indoors, the electromagnetic to, so many levels that fall into play there. But you will see in this article, I've given you the link below in the description. Just click, copy, paste it, post it in, and read the article. It is fascinating. And you'll be amazed where one of those 3 regions actually is. It's not where you necessarily might assume would be one of the 3 populations or high populations of centenarians. But the threads remain the same. And I want you to read that article because it's very, very pertinent and practical. And there's a lot of brilliant resources to take away from what they share. The key ones being they were no smoking. They spent a lot of time outdoors, sunshine exposure. They were eating their native foods from the local regions. But they had a strong support system in place of relationships, whether it be family or family combined with some form of religion, or I think it was Tai Chi in one of the countries. But they had a resource and a support foundation to their lives that they were leading. So they had some consistent pillars in place that were across the board, always there, no matter what was actually happening. And it's beautiful the way it's written, and the pictures themselves tell 1,000 tales. So definitely check that out. I hope you found that of benefit. As always, I'm here as your therapist, your coach. I love feedback. Please do let me know if you've liked it. Give me a thumbs up, give me a share, mention me, and share this video with your friends and family on your social media platforms or your podcast if you're listening in just now. And remember, your muscle health is my number 1 priority. I'll be back very shortly for video number 2, so join me for that. And thank you very much, and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye-bye.